AskReddit. Truck drivers of Reddits. What is your most NSFW story from the road? My dad worked for a moving company and drove the big trucks across the country to wherever the person was moving to. Well, one time he was stopped at a red light and his moving partner hits his arm and says for him to look at something. He looks and this chick who was parked next to them at the red light had her legs propped up on the dash and was just rubbing her vag like a DJ who drank 20 Red Bulls. Once the light turned yellow for the other light, she just put her legs back down and drove off as soon as their light turned green. They were high up in a big ass truck so they saw everything. Clitter hero. About 20 years ago I was heading down Snowshoe on I-80 in Pennsylvania. Flatbed passed me, and after he got about a 1/4 mile in front of me the brake lights came on and he started swerving all over. Ended up in the median. Upright but jackknifed into the driver's side. Turns out he hit a bear, which went through the windshield. Bear survived it and went on attack mode. I and 2 other drivers got to him in time to see this bear flipping out inside the cab attacking the guy. Right behind us was a state trooper. He ran up to the truck, yanked the passenger door open and shot the bear twice. Bear turned around and started towards him and he unloaded into it. That guy was tore the frick up and no, he didn't make it. Not a truck driver but the officer who responded to a semi versus passenger vehicle. Arrived on scene to a frantic scene. Multiple people are yelling and crying. I try to make sense of things and ask if anyone is injured. I hear the voice of a parent yelling out. If you have ever heard someone in person yelling for help with the fear and panic, you'll never see things the same way again. Medics arrive about the time I show up. They start to treat the lady who obviously has a broken leg. I start to make sense of things and get the driver of the semi. I ask if he needs medical, he says no. I go to the vehicles to get it for the lady who is being combative and not cooperating. I get up to the vehicle where I'm looking for a purse. I look in the crumpled from behind car this lady was in. I see a laptop on the floorboard from what I can make out. Hear sounds of Blue's Clues playing but Joe video. I move the laptop and was not prepared for what I saw next. The top of the laptop was covered in brain matter and blood. An infant was on the floorboard folded up and mangled. Skull obviously crushed. No car seat. Baby was around 2 years old. Placed by the back seat with a laptop on their lap. The force from being hit from behind sent the baby into the driver's seat and laptop screen smushed the child's skull. I have 100% written child restraint law citations since then. A few times I've seen someone receiving roadhead, and once I had a convertible of college-age girls flash me their tits. But the funniest was a guy driving down the road with his topless girlfriend or wife. He was just holding a boob. He wasn't rubbing it, and they weren't doing anything else. He was just driving down the road holding a massive titty. Maybe it was a comfort thing. Or just the tamest weird kink ever? Security blanket? Nah, security boob. Driving northbound I-15 through Cajun Pass, I saw a really nice classic Buick parked on the side of the freeway with its hazards on. Looked to have broke down. Upon closer inspection, an older woman had stopped, dropped her pants, hit the hazards and was dropping a massive deuce with her ass hanging out of the driver window. Different story. At the Flying J in Ehrenberg, I stopped for fuel and jerky. While I was walking in, I noticed a driver yelling at a recreational reptile, aside. For the less cultured, like myself, a recreational reptile is a prostitute. To leave him alone and let him sleep, and this was the last time he was gonna tell her. So I did my shopping. And on my way back to start fueling I noticed the driver from earlier taking off from his spot and driving towards the lot lizard. I was thinking frickin' great, I'm about to witness a murder and have to deal with taking statements and shit. Nope. Dude got his truck up to about 15 miles per hour, rolled the window down and whipped a jug of something I'm gonna guess wasn't lemonade at her and drilled her center mass. So this piss-soaked lot lizard goes sprinting into the travel center. And about 5 seconds later people started pouring out the front doors like the place was on fire. By the time I was done fueling, the cops had came and were tossing her in their cruiser while taking turns dry heaving. Best part is I was about 50 yards upwind of all this. Not a truck driver, but I used to work at a truck stop, if that counts. Had tons of interactions with truckers and it's really made me appreciate what they do. but the stuff they pull sometimes is so damn gross. I once walked in on a waist down naked truck driver washing his balls in the bathroom sink. I'm talking one leg propped up on the sink while splashing water repeatedly into his crotch. He paused for a second when I walked in, then kept going on with the splashing. I choose not to stick around. At least once a month I'd find a turd sitting in one of our urinals. Like I'm never going to understand the thought process of awkwardly shitting in a urinal when there's a perfectly good toilet a couple steps away. Had one of the local lizards lock herself in the bathroom and proceed to overdose on drugs. Me being the key holder for the building went to unlock the bathroom, and upon opening the door, the lizard fell out onto me and threw up all over my legs and feet. I don't even wanna imagine what the stomach contents of a truck driver's prostitute could contain, but needless to say I went home early that day. Threw away the pants and shoes too. Trucker here. I was at a truck stop outside Los Angeles, walking in with my co-driver for a shower. A fairly attractive lot lizard walks up to me with a cheesy grin and asked if I had any change. I dug deep in my pocket and pulled out a week's worth of change. It was probably $5 or $6 worth, mostly nickels, dimes, and pennies. She stood there dumbfounded as I walked off. My friend said, "You know that was a hooker, right?" I replied, "Yep." He said, "You know she didn't want change, right?" I said, "I know. She didn't have any pockets, and I wanted to know where she was going to put it. I never found out. She stood there clutching it with both hands." I had just started working for a large corporate company. There was extra money to be made if your first truck a recovery truck. Someone quits and just leaves a truck somewhere. You get to ride with another driver and pick it up. This truck happened to be on the US Canada line. At the inspection station, I see the truck sitting there with this crate strapped to the back on the fifth wheel. It's maybe 4x6x3, which is odd. I go into the custom station, tell them I am here to get the truck and show them my paperwork. The guy at the desk gives me this "you poor fool" look and says, "I hope you have a strong stomach." Gives me the keys. I go to the truck and open the door. The smell of sheet and other human body odors just about knocks me on my ass. This truck is a wreck inside. There's a pile of sheet about 2 feet high against the side of sleeper. The mattress is just soaked with piss. One of cabinets was filled with sheet. Turns out the last driver was busted when he tried to cross the border with the truck. Got stopped for an inspection. Needless to say, the smell tipped off the inspectors. The better things to list is they found 2 naked women tied up in the sleeper, a loaded .38 special, trafficable amounts of cocaine. Needless to say, he was locked up. The crate on the back of the truck was all his personal effect they were not keeping as evidence. I did not drive that truck back. I have no clue what they did with it. TLDR. Tired to recover a truck for some extra cash. Turned out to be filled with human shit and piss, and was being used to traffic humans and drugs. Driver here. I don't have any crazy stories other than old dudes beating off while driving and the standard boob flashes, but a buddy of mine stopped to take a nap and put his sun visor up at night to block the passing car lights. He saw lights flashing all around and figured it was more trucks pulling in behind him. Then he felt the cab moving and reminded himself he was in a windy area. About 4 minutes pass and he feels the cab moving again. Then hears a faint tapping on his windshield. Remember, these windshields are frickin' high. So he pulls down his sunshade and to his horror, he sees a fully nude black dude about 4 foot 5 inches staring at him, just beating the sheet out of his meat. He blew his air horn in the dude's face and he didn't even flinch, which is frickin' insane. Then the guy slid off the hood and ran off into the night. This was in the middle of nowhere. When he pulled back and later he was white as a ghost, but definitely a good sport about it all. You could see the handprints on his hood. Creepy sheet though. I'm a little late to this party, but this is a pretty interesting story. My mom was a truck driver for a little bit when I was just out of high school. I took a trip with her from Texas to Louisiana. Stopped at a truck stop outside Baton Rouge. We got approached by a prostitute. My mom said she wasn't interested because she wasn't gay. The prostitute said, "I'm both male and female. I have a vagina and a penis." My mom, being the curious sort she is, asked how that was possible. They said, "I'm a real hermaphrodite. I was born with a working vagina and a penis." My mom said she would give them $10 to see. They agreed. This person had a vaginal opening, testicles, and working penis. We ended up talking with them for about 30 minutes about hermaphroditism. It was pretty interesting conversation. Pulled into a truck stop outside of Sacramento. Real dive. I just wanted some coffee and take a sheet. As I'm walking through the lot I see some sketchy looking homeless guy yelling at truckers demanding money. I decide to avoid the situation. Cut between some trucks and circle around the store. About a minute or two later I hear a gunshot. The homeless guy shot a trucker in the head. 2 other guys tackled him and held him for the police. I always wonder if I hadn't decided to avoid him if that would have been me. Edit to everyone asking. I didn't see the name of the truck stop. It was south of Sac on 99. This happened in the mid-90s. It wasn't a big chain truck stop like Pilot, Petro, or Flying J. Thank you for your time. If you dug the content, smash that like button and subscribe for more. I'll see y'all next time.